This is the first battle box that I have designed for the Mega Cube. So this is really where deck building really begins. Even though I've built Dark Alice and I've built machines, and I think I went through Fairy Tales. I think the way that I'm going to go about it is in four deck batches. This first batch is mostly about Moon Priestess Returns, but so definitely the Cognates are also humans, and I'll be talking about this deck in this first video. So I'm introducing these four, but then I'm going to talk about the Cognates. Then I also built a Kaguya treasury items deck that really is centered around just treasury items. Really, it's all about treasury items. Even though it's got the card, the Were-Rabbit, that gets buffed by treasury items. It is not a Were-Rabbit deck because I found that when I wanted to build the Were-Rabbit deck, it didn't really. In my opinion, it doesn't really go well with Kaguya because you want to have the four anthems, and the moment you put in your four anthems for Were-Rabbits, they're not treasury items. So it's kind of like, well, I either go and make what I think is a really good Were-Rabbit deck, or I make a really good treasury items deck. So I'll do both, but they'll be in different decks. And then also, I really couldn't find a good Grimm water ruler for the Were-Rabbit deck. There really isn't a Were-Rabbit ruler. At least not in these 12 packs, in these first three clusters. So this one got a Lapis ruler, and that's fine. I mean, I'll be switching back and forth between the three clusters, even though these first scratch decks don't have sideboards and didn't really care too much about cards in other than Grimm, because I'm going sequentially: Grimm, Alice, Lapis, then doing a second round and a third round. I don't know how far I'm going to get this year in 2021. And then, of course, last but not least, Thulu's, which I'll be buying more singles for, making it stronger. It is the stronger of the four decks, and we'll see how it goes. And also the stones that I've put in the decks are not really completely optimized. These are just sketch decks. So in the case of Cognates, there's a reason why this ruler is very cheap. It's really, I mean, it can only be a casual deck. How else to say it? Now it flips very quickly, and that's really good. You drop it, you put down maybe 3 or 4 stones, and then you flip it. Now the beauty of it, which is kind of interesting, I think it's definitely a ruler that could have been made stronger, is you cannot call magic stones at the beginning of your main phase. Put the top card of your magic stone deck into your magic stone area. So even though you cannot call magic stones, you can keep dropping stones throughout the game after you flip it, which is very, very useful. You don't have to go back and forth if it gets hit, and then yes, you can call magic stones, but you can no longer use the ruler and all that. It is not a cognate, it's a wizard. Cognate resonators, you control game plus 200 plus 0, and you can pay 1 fire and whack 200 to target resonators. So you can be pinging resonators throughout the game. So it's all right. It's all right, and it's definitely. I mean, all rulers in these 12 packs are worth building. And at one point or another, if I have the ruler, and I think I have the cards by now because I have cracked. I mean, if you guys have seen, I'm gonna be at like 100 videos when I finish these the discussion of this deck, these 4 decks. I think I have enough cards. Let's just put it that way. So I put some humans. I didn't go crazy in optimizing which humans I put in. I went really mostly Moon Priestess Returns, and again, very casual deck, but it works. And even though it's a vanilla, I have enough to put in. I am gonna build the Star Money deck, for which this card is going to go in, but it's a 1/400. I mean, so just as in Magic, vanillas are stronger. They just don't do anything else but be strong, and that's what I wanted. So I put in 2, and it's not a cognate; it's just a human. Then for the what I would call the Cognates suite. These new sleeves get a little sticky. A playset of the Apostle of Cain enters. If your J ruler attack this turn, this card gains swiftness. That's pretty good because I'm gonna flip Cain very quickly, so that's gonna work out just fine. Then a playset of Jabal, and continues when this card attacks. If your J ruler attack this turn, target resonator cannot block this turn. Yeah, pretty good because I'm flipping Cain. I'm flipping to Cain very quickly. And then the third cognate is Jubal. When it attacks, if your ruler attack this turn, it deals 500 damage to target resonator. And so, and let us not forget that you can keep fire around to be smacking for 200. And so if this thing smacks the same resonator for 500, then you can add additional 200s to take it out, even if it's big, even if it's like a 900, for instance. So, yeah, 2, 5, 6. Then I put this guy in, just 2, because I felt like I needed some mid-range. I needed more of my mid-range. This deck can stall out after you drop your 1 drops and your 2 drops and your 3 drops. So I didn't want it to stall out too much. And this guy is a quick cast, and he's got a fire ability from CFC, of course, which, even though it's a secret rare, super rare, I already have so much CFC, and I think I may even crack another box later in the year, just for fun. Gains plus 200 plus 0, and first strike until end of turn. It doesn't say that you have to use it once per turn, so even though you can only get first strike once, you know, you can make it bigger. That's not bad. And then 2 of flyers. I needed some flyers. And it gains plus 100 plus 0 for getting boosted, even though it is not a cognate or a human. I only put in 2. Then at the top end, I originally have 4 of this guy, but it just didn't work out. I tested the deck. It just didn't. But at 2, it's pretty good. And so, gains first strike for red. It does have swiftness. And so, whenever a resonator that was dealt damage by this card this turn is put into a graveyard, recover this card once per turn. So you can hit twice with this if you take something out. I mean, it's a 1200, 800, nothing to laugh at. It doesn't fly, but it does have swiftness, and it can get first strike. Not bad. And then I do have a full playset of the combo. A combo that is very, very cool. And so I took this out of Moa. So it's really, I incorporated some things that I wanted to put in a Moa battle box, which I still plan to do at some point, because Moa is just, continues to be cheap. So I put in the 4 Ame no Habakiri, added resonator gains plus 400, 400. Whenever the resonator deals damage to an opponent's the resonator, you can hit your opponent for that much. So that's pretty good. I mean, I like that. So yeah, full play set of Susanowo. It's really your backup. You get stalled, you get whacked, you get board wiped. You'll have to wait for it, but as long as somebody doesn't hit your ruler, you're gonna get to 6 will, and then you can drop Susanowo, which has swiftness. And of course, rock, paper, scissors. There are dragons, there are purple mists in this battle box, so you can drop Susanowo only as a 3 drop. And then you may add one of the blades to Susanowo, and it deals damage equal to its attack to target resonator your opponent controls when it comes in. So it can come in pretty powerful. All right, so that's your top end of the deck. So how many resonators do I have in this deck? I've got, of course, not many humans and cognates. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24 Could have had a little more. So, you know, there's room for optimizing. But I wanted to have the blades. And I also wanted to have the anthems. And the anthems are for humans. And just as a curiosity, I see that I have, these are CMFs, and I see that I have 3 Japanese and 1 Taiwanese. I always like to make that distinction just out of curiosity. So this one gives plus 200 to your humans. And you can pay 1, banish it, and you can destroy target addition. That's pretty good. In case, you know, you get stalled or your opponent's additions are really messing you up. Then 2 of this guy for stealing. Yeah. Steal something, and it's a trigger, so it's a standby, and you have to pay the cost. So if the trigger doesn't say play it for free, it's not for free. So you pay 2. Put it in your standby, and then you got to pay an additional 3 when it triggers, I believe. I need to read the rules better. I'll be reading the rules throughout the building of this cube, and if I make mistakes, at some point I'm going to ask help from people who know a lot more than I do, given that I'm really a collector, not a player. And I'll always call myself a collector, not a player, unless I'm lucky enough and later on I get to play the game, which is pathetic because I'm building all these decks for a game that I haven't played. But, you know, I'm having fun. And hope you are too. So, yeah. So this will gain control of target resonator. There's 2 of them. Then, kind of like a balance, your opponent controls 3 or more resonators than you. And you remove 2 target resonators from the game. So that's when you really stall out or you get whacked and you're running low. You can play this guy to help you. 2 Thunders, hit for 500. 2 Crime and Punishment. It's an X spell for damage being dealt, and it's an instant at 1. And then for the stones, it's a light fire deck. So a play set, and then enough light for the deck. It is mostly a fire deck. So most of the stones, the basic stones, are fire. And I went for 12, and I'll be going for 12 for every single deck in this battle box, and I think the future battle box that I'll work on. So here we are, and I think I still need to understand standbys better. I think I'm probably going to be asking a question because I don't want to make too many of these videos and be completely wrong about standbys.